With me for just 1 hour. Want to thank you again for always supporting your girl on Move Beyond the Block. Y'all know this is the companion platform for the book of the same title that I published just this summer, actually July 2018. And this show is an hour of contemporary, transcending and authentic conversation where we explore guests and topics that move us beyond the block so that we can attain the life that we are all hoping to live. Just a little bit about me. I am a writer, as you know, an author of a book, and a radio host of this show, and Voices of Advocacy Radio as well. I'm also the founder of Girls Like Me Project, a girls advocacy and mentoring organization that trains girls in media literacy and digital storytelling. I am also an overflow coach. I help women to use digital platforms as a building block to advance their dreams and life goals. I am also very proud. The most honorable work that I get to do is that I am the proud mother of Marquise Sewell and Kumaya Sewell, and the wife of Barry, DJ B-Side. So y'all, about DJ B-Side and about my babies, my other babies. So first, DJ B-Side is celebrating a year of success this Sunday at Studio Movie Grill here in Chicago on 87th and the Dan Rhine. He is celebrating a wonderful year. God has been really good. And so, Client Appreciation Day Party from 4 to 9 at Studio Movie Grill. And then Kwamaya and Marquise are home. My babies are home from Morehouse and Atlanta State University. So, this Saturday on the show at 10 o'clock a.m., they will be in studio with me, along with some of their peers, talking about the college life experience and about what supports they need, and just some things that we can just do, care packaging and other things we can do to keep them lifted up while they are away at home and making us all proud. Y'all, this week, first of all, let me just say, y'all know the conversation tonight is about Thanksgiving and just the holidays in general without our loved ones who are incarcerated. But before I get to that, I just want to send out my condolences, my deepest condolences, and also just heartfelt sympathy to the family of Dr. O'Neal, who was murdered just Monday, or Tuesday, I'm sorry. Monday. Was it yesterday? It was yesterday. Just yesterday. Murdered while at work at Mercy Hospital.
Wow.
Doing
Sad.
What she loves, saving lives,
Sad.
and lost a life due to domestic dispute. Also in the line of fire was a Chicago police officer, Officer Samuel, who lost his life, and another young lady who lost their lives. And this is not just here, but also, I wish I had her name before me, but Mrs. Frazier in Ohio lost her life. Her husband was a judge, and he murdered her in cold blood, stabbed her to death in front of their 2 children. This was his second time attacking his wife. The first time left her in need of reconstruction surgery on her face. He served time for that, 6 months for that, lost his judgeship for that, but then came back out, worked for the city, worked for the same city. And then on the weekend, his ex-wife was dropping off their children to him, and he murdered her. Y'all, we need to deal with what this is that is causing harm, because it's not just random acts of violence. It's not just arguments. There is something very toxic, and I know people get a little offended and abrasive about that, but it is real. Toxic masculinity. It's not just about abusing women. It's about the thing that tells little boys, don't cry. You're a sissy if you cry, or man up. All that, y'all. We're not dealing with emotions. We repressing so much, and when you repress things and you don't know how to process emotions, when you don't know how to take a loss and understand what a loss means and how you proceed through that, then you start looking for victims, and then you start looking for victims to actually harm, to cause pain, or to project that pain off of you onto them. So we're gonna, believe you me, I'm gonna make time for that. So that's a show coming up. But tonight, I am so very happy that I have in studio with me Brother Tyrone Muhammad. Brother Tyrone Muhammad is the executive director of Ex-Cons for Community and Social Change, ECCSC. He's also an author and motivational speaker, and He is the radio host of Home here on UBM, Urban Broadcast Media. So I'm glad to have my broadcast brother next to me for this conversation. My girl Celia Colon, my hermana, is supposed to be calling in. So I don't know if she has yet or if she is about to call in, but she'll be calling in. And I also want to just send well wishes to Dr. Lori Glass, who was scheduled to be with us, but called me at about 3 o'clock. She was going to try to push through, but she just cannot. She is suffering symptoms of the flu, and y'all know how that is. I'm a woman who don't believe in no rest and fighting it off. No, take the rest. Heal your body. That's most important. This show will be here when you are better, Dr. Glass, and it will also be here when you are, you can always come back, because unfortunately, Brother Tyrone, this conversation it never gets old.
That's right.
We are 1 million of the 2.3 million who are housed away in prison, and that isn't even speaking of the jail system. That's the prison system.
That's
and
right.
So
that's right.
as we have these things, let me just tell you a little bit about my experience. So my uncle, one of my uncles when I was younger, I remember my very earliest memories of him was always visiting in jail. I didn't get to see him, I don't think, until I was 6 or 7 years old, that he came home. My cousin, when I came home from college, I guess I had children at the time, so maybe I was 22. My cousin, who's like just maybe 4 years younger than me, served time as well.
Yes, ma'am.
And I didn't know I was gonna get choked up about this one. So on September 13th, I became an aunt to an incarcerated young man who was 20 years old, serving time at Cook County Jail.
He's there now?
He's there now.
And hasn't received a sentence or haven't been found guilty?
He has not faced trial yet. He is still in the discovery process. So This is very new. He was booked on September 13th of 2018.
Any bond?
Yeah, bond is pretty steep.
Yes.
But the good thing about him, this situation, we're very hopeful for him. It is something that he did not do. The victim's family knows he did not do it. They have a confession from the person who did it, but did not charge that person.
Wow.
And so his lawyer is a very good lawyer. I'll talk to you about who his lawyer is.
Please.
You're very familiar with the lawyer. So we're not worried about the situation. We feel it's a good case, but it's still the time that he is away.
Yes,
right? And so I just want you to talk about, we can talk from a family perspective, but I want you to talk about from the incarcerated loved one's perspective. What is a holiday like? And is it painful do you think that when families who are on the outside, that if they know too much about what their loved one is going through, that causes them to worry or have stress? How do you balance, or is that even a worry that you all have?
Always, when you're incarcerated, you think about your loved ones. But as far as when we're looking at the family perspective, I think it depends on how close you are. With our families tend to be fragmented anyway. So when I and from my experience in dealing with the brothers that's incarcerated, I found, sister, that your mom, maybe grandmother, and maybe the immediate family, if there's a relationship, then it is as a sense of sadness then. But what I found more than anything is how being in that 9x12 cell and that, as I call it, the washroom, living in the washroom. In my case, I stayed in the washroom for 2 decades in a year. Just imagine just staying in the 21 years. Just imagine staying in the washroom for a week where you can't come out. Everything you own, everything you do, everything that you think, your ideas are encapsulated within those 4 walls, and you share that most time with another man in that small space. So when we talk about that, that absence of family, what happens is, in my case, I left 200 or more brothers behind and sons that I've adopted as my own over 21 years. And you become you create your family. Because if, in my case, a lot of times when you stay in prison for over 10 years, 15 years, family tend to fade off. It's not the same for everyone. It's very few, with the exception of the Mexicans, the Latino brothers and sisters, that their family never seem to fade off often. Wow. It's like the familiar relationships and connections tend to stay, and I think that has something to do with culture and how we've been so displaced as a family that the male and female relationship is so scarred. And in my case, I wanted to see my son and my daughter during those holiday seasons, but no one was ever around to bring them to me. Or no one, I was never able to fully engage in the activity that they was going in. And as a Muslim, holidays wasn't that special to me anyway. Yes, ma'am. Okay. But still understanding that other family members aren't Muslim, so they, the children are exposed to those holidays and traditions. So yes, ma'am, I think for me, what I've observed is the special way that we as brothers tend to congregate around our shared interests, right? So we all are deprived of family, so we create our own family, and we make dinners out of whatever we able to make from the ramen noodles and everything else. So it's sad, but when you share brotherhood and you're unified and we all have this common incarceration, we find a way to make each day or each holiday less stressful and less painful. Yeah. So in that sense. Yeah.
And so we got Sister Celia on the line now. So hey sis.
Hey sis. I'm sorry that I'm not in the building, but I'm here and I'm in spirit, and I just wanted to chime in on whatever question you had, or just to share my experience, or whatever you'd like on this subject.
Absolutely. So no need to be sorry. This is a holiday season, so, and the day before, and you're a mommy, so I already understand. You know, Dr. Glass is not feeling well. She has come down with the flu, so she couldn't make it in either. She called me earlier.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so let me just tell the people who you are, because you, being my sister, we're familiar, but I want the people to know how illustrious my guests are. With Brother Tyrone. There's Celia Colon, who is on the phone. She is a reentry advocate and author twice, right? You've been in 2 books now. And a field organizer and motivational speaker. Celia also served time and was incarcerated. Celia, you left behind your baby, your infant baby. So not only was it hard during the holidays, but you were gone from a lot of milestones. So just Tyrone was just telling his experience. I was asking, what can the family know that, you know, what are our incarcerated loved ones going through on the inside while we are out at holiday?
On the inside, you know, it's really hard, it's really stressful, just like for the people on the outside. So make no mistake, the pain is still the same and it's still real. Because while our loved ones are incarcerated, so is our family and so is the pain. So it's just not on the inside. It's you know, both sides that are going through the same pain of missing that loved one. Some of the coping things that I did, because even though I was locked up for 6.5 years, I only got to see my little girl, who I left at 3 times the whole 6.5 years. So that drove me crazy in itself, you know.
Wow.
She was sad, treated, you know, like all these crazy things would go through my mind based on where I was at and an environment that I was at, and the people would come in with the cases that they came in with, right?
Right.
So it was a really funny situation for me. But one of the coping mechanisms that really worked for me is that even though I had no contact with my daughter because she was in the care of her father's mother, which is her grandmother, I would write her letters. And I would, even though they weren't getting mailed out, because I know she wasn't going to receive them, I was still able to put pen to paper and told her how I felt that day. And how much I missed her, and how much, you know, no matter what, that I was her mother. And I would talk about all the things that I wanted to do, all the things that I was missing. And that helped me tremendously, because Even though she wasn't there physically, she was in my mind spiritually, and she was present mentally. And it helped me so much because when I came home, I was ever able to give her all the mail that I was never able to send to her, to let her know no matter what, I was for her. And for the families on the outside, sometimes it's really hard for people, especially people that come from, our communities, which are underserved and, in poverty. We can't take that 4-hour drive to go see a loved one in the joint. It costs a lot of money.
Right.
So the things that people can do on the outside is, of course, accept a phone call if they're able to do that financially, and just talk to one another and be there and talk about the good times that, bring that person's name up. Let that person be present. Let that person have a seat at the table. Even though they're not there physically, you can put their picture out and everybody can be blessed and talk about the relationship that they have with that person.
Yeah, as I was telling Brother Tyrone and the audience before you called in, so I've had some direct experiences with this, but nothing like what I'm facing right now with my nephew actually being incarcerated. And I remember my uncle being incarcerated. I remember, there are pictures of us going there, taking pictures with him, a lot of pictures. My cousin, who's just 4 years younger than me, I have to feel regret that he did not have support. We didn't support him for various reasons. The secrecy one, of not knowing where, what, or whatever. But then also just not knowing how. When you have newborns and little babies, how do you get them? I was so infuriated. And this is how my mind had to grow, because I was infuriated. I felt indignant that you would want to search me and my babies. My babies have to take off. I think I felt so violated when I took my babies to see my cousin while he was in the county, and they had to take off their shoes, and I think they wanted to look in their pamper. I think it was something that was so, to me, dehumanizing, that I was like, I can't do this. And I wish I had done it, because I know he was going through even worse than that, right? So I wish I had done that, and that's a regret that I have, which is why I want to do this show now.
But don't have that regret, because at the end of the day, we still had Indigenous Day, Turkey Day in the joint. We supported each other, people who had, their own social networks. There's a lot of my sisters that I do time with that, to this day we're still friends and we're all home, who supported one another. And we had, with our hot pots, we made Thanksgiving Day,
So I want you and Brother Tyrone both to talk about that, because I think that brings comfort to loved ones to know that it is still sad, but there's also still that optimism and that happiness and that happy feeling. So I'm going to come back after this break, and we'll talk more about that on the other side.
We'll be back, people.
Yeah, that's good to know.
Yeah, you have to create family where you at. You can't. I'm sure that happened during slavery, actually, because when you get snatched up from one location, it's the same concept.
But here, you were saying about families not going to business. I also think it's because for us, we allow people to criminalize people.
That's right.
To be able to say they bad, right?
Why should you have to be subjected to a cavity search and you didn't commit no crime? Just by the mere fact you visiting a loved one.
But not only that, outside of me, for why as a family, I think we allow society to criminalize our loved ones.
That's right.
Inside.
We
so
do.
We like, oh, they bad. We ain't gotta go support them because they did that. So we not.
And then we act as though the criminal justice system is not stacked up against us. Now we got judgment on individuals who already a part of a system that's.
And people who are not serving crime doing worse. Like you got people on Wall Street. Marijuana is now about to be legalized, and we've been disowning family for how long?
Man, forever.
Crazy.
But my narrative: coca leaf, poppy seed. Smith and Wesson is not produced in Inglewood. Quit playing, people.
Quit playing. Yep. Man. I don't think I got it.
Leon's Barbecue and Grill, Chicago's best barbecue, is proud to announce the opening of Leon's Patio, a brand new sweet shop in the city of Memphis. Got a taste for big deliveries, ice cream, smoothie, Chicago style popcorn, happy hour. They got you. They got pizza. They got wraps. And now they got salads. Whatever you've got a taste for, get it at Leon. 1528 to 6032, 2 blocks west of Stony Island. Call them at 773-891-4844. And now, Leon's delivers via Uber Eats. Just remember, it's in the sauce.
UBM Radio.
Y'all, we are back. We are back. Y'all, tonight is Thanksgiving Eve. Folks, I got that kitchen on lockdown, and they ain't cooking for you tonight. They cooking for tomorrow. So if you are hungry tonight and you need to get yourself a fixing before that turkey day, y'all head over to Leon's Barbecue, 1528 East 63rd Street. That is a Chicago legacy. Like, that's legendary. So go on ahead and get you some of that. You can get barbecue, rib tips, chicken, all that. Head over to Leon's Barbecue, 1528 East 63rd Street, because y'all know y'all better not go in that kitchen and touch none of those pots if you're not cooking. You got to stay out the kitchen until tomorrow when you can actually eat. So go on over to Leon's if you need to be fed and eat good. But Brother Tyrone and Sister Celia, you all were talking about the traditions that are made on the inside and the family that is made on the inside. Brother Tyrone, tell a little bit. You were saying just a little before earlier what were some of the traditions and the ways you all came together. And then Celia, you can chime in too.
Well, it's so sad, and it's like this here. Even as it relates to a hot pot, and Celia will tell you this, we had to rig up hot pots just to cook the water hot enough or the pot hot enough to eat a decent hot meal. But just the mere fact that we know that everyone don't have family who send them money for commissary, where they can eat outside of the so-called quote-unquote chow hall, where our slop is served, as I call it. And, so we put what we can together, and it's amazing the miracles that people make from hot pots. Brothers make all types of food, and it's tasty. As a vegetarian, you could imagine how hard it was for me to get a good meal. See, my diet didn't change. I've been a vegetarian since 1990. So it's like hard. It was like extra hard for me. I have to steal vegetables and fruit out the kitchen, out the officer's kitchen, just to really eat a healthy and a hearty meal from time to time. And knowing that, my brothers will put stuff together, for me. And I'm just saying that familial relationships that we develop and create last a lifetime, like Celia was saying, of boys and girls that we continue. But real quick before we go to that, we as a society tend to look more at the incarceration of men without ever taking in consideration the hardship that women go through as it relates to their children being deprived. The mother's love is the greatest thing in the world. Just being deprived of the mother's love. And it's like, that's like so sickening to me that we don't figure out how that mother can still interact with her child while she's serving her time. It seems inhumane to me. It
is very inhumane. Sister Celia, you can talk more about that. But first I want you to talk about talk about that, but then talk about the sisterhood that you were able to foster while you were locked away. Did we lose Celia?
Did we lose her?
Did we lose Celia?
I hope not.
I hope not either. I think I can't hear her. Hold on, Celia.
I can't.
I know you're on the line because I can hear you on the monitors in the hall, but I can't hear you in the studio. I can't hear her in the studio. So, Celia, we're gonna come back to you. So, Brother Tyrone, I want you to tell me about what can parents do or families in general do on the outside Is it, do we need to know everything that's happening on the inside? Will that help us, or will it make us worry more? What is it that we need to know, and how can we support from the outside? And what would your advice be to a mother who's on the outside with their children or a son? And I say children, but as a mama, you can be 40 years old and your mama still see you as her baby. So what can mothers, grandmothers, everybody do, first of all, to keep the person there, but what can they do to console themselves while they're missing their loved ones?
Man, I can't really speak from that perspective because I haven't, besides my brother, he's strong, that's doing 85 years. He's in Stateville right now. I can't really speak to that because I wasn't like a parent on the outside looking at my son. So what I can say is this, just that love, just that attention, just be attentive, just reach out, even if it's merely a letter. Believe it or not, the letter was more special to me than the phone call.
Wow.
Because it takes time. With the time that people spend on their lives out here, if we lose our phones, we tend to lose everything.
That's right.
That was a time when I used to have 20 to 30 phone numbers in my book. In my head. Now, I maybe have 1 or 2 phone numbers in my book. We had to. And now I'm just saying that letter, when we receive that letter, when the officer don't go back, we call them drive-bys. When he don't drive by your cell and mail come under the door, or your number is on the door saying you have mail in the officer's bubble, that feels so great. Just that mere, I love you, I'm thinking about you, we appreciate you, hurry up home, stay safe. That's the greatest thing a loved one could do. Stay in communication, stay in touch. If you can't visit once a month, that's what my organization is hoping to do in the future, to link, to create transportation, my buses and things, so that I can link the children of the incarcerated, back to their fathers and mothers. I want to be able to do that off of our organizational dollar, off of our efforts, without the incarcerated or the families having to worry about how they're going to get to their loved ones. Because at the end of the day, most people that's incarcerated actually come home.
Yeah, that's true.
Serving 21 years, I thought I would never come home. I went in like, man, listen. I went in like I'd never come home. So do you time actually ends. Eventually.
It's hope. It's
hope.
It's something to look forward to.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So Celia.
Can we, is it down?
And the monitor in here is not back on.
Let's make sure she.
Sis?
See that? Can you hear?
So we just having technical difficulties right now. That's not even plugged in.
Yeah.
So we on roll because we can't
roll.
hear. We roll.
We professionals. We do.
There we go.
I heard something.
Let's see.
I heard something.
Is she on there?
Celia.
She says she here.
I hear her.
I hear you, but we can't hear you too loud in here. Is it a...
Let's check down here.
Okay.
Go
so
ahead.
Brother Tyrone, but I can hear you, sis, so go ahead. So I wanted you to talk more about the sisterhood that you were able to form while you were away. Right. So you the work you do on the outside, Celia. So you are now an advocate, and you actually go into prison systems and work with people there. What are ways that families can help not just their own loved one who is locked away, but what can we as a community do to support efforts of people who actually go back into jails? Like, are there opportunities to do that? Mhm. Mhm. Well, guess what? Whoa. Well, guess what? We are going to partner. Girls Like Me Project is going to partner with you to do that. So, Celia, you all, because I know unless you're watching on the actual, unless you're actually watching on, you're on the app or watching the live stream, you probably can't hear Celia. You will be able to hear her now because Brother Tyrone just got it together for us. But what Celia was saying is that she now goes back into the prison systems out of her own money, and she actually puts care packages together for the women who are there. So Celia, we are going to partner with you, Girls Like Me Project, to collect those toiletry items to be able to give back to the women that you serve.
So amazing. Thank you so much for the work that you do and the support that you always give to everybody in the community, and may God bless you tenfold. And, you know, the women really appreciate to know that somebody cares about them, because a lot of the women behind the walls, every time I go there to go do one of my mental health workshops, there's nobody in the visiting room.
Wow.
Unlike the men that have 2 or 3 women fighting
That's
on
right.
That's right.
visiting
I've
room.
seen
right.
that. I've seen that.
So, you know, the women are the less thought about in times like this, and they're the most devastated ones behind the walls, because even though men and women are locked up and we're hurting, the women go through more things as far as abuse mentally, physically, sexually than men do.
Yes.
Men, you know, there is rape within the walls, but not like it is for women. 90 to 95% of women are all sexually harassed or raped, and there's never any justice.
That's right.
That's not going to happen in the men's side, because the staff ain't going to rape the men. A lot of the rape that happens within the men's side is men on men, unlike the women's side where it's staff and there's nothing you can do.
Powerless. So speak to that. Both of you all speak to that, like the COs and I don't know what they call when at the state level. But, But what would, if you had anything to say to them, what would you say to them in terms of making it an easier ride for people who are in prison? What's the things they can do to make it a less stressful and a peaceful place to be as much as possible?
Well, for me, it starts out here. We as family members have to hold elected officials accountable.
Speak.
And we're talking about human rights violations all over the world. The women in prison are the most unprotected class in America.
Wow.
You know, prisoners.
That's still the black and Latino faces.
Black and Latino faces. And not only that, even the poor white women. See, once you're in that place, the only thing separates us is family visits, ability to contact people with a phone call from the outside, letters, and money for commissary. See, those are the things, like out here, it's like green, or in that case, family support is like money in prison. So
family support is currency.
Because you have the ability now to stretch out towards the warden, to make an officer or CO job difficult as a result of how he's mistreating you and mishandling you. They have DRs, we have DRs, they have ADs, administrative directives, of how they are to treat, speak, and care for us while in their custody. So most cases, what I see is this: when you can't really teach the officers how to be better officers to human beings when the whole system is broke anyway. It's like the police department.
That's right.
Even if you got one good officer, the system don't allow the other officers to be should I say,
Outstanding.
yeah,
Just-
because now you have to rat out your other officers when you see them violating their administrative directives of how they should police and care for, because even in prison, once the judge give you your time, that's it. Your job is to serve the time, and it's the officer's job to give you what you need to serve that time safely. To return you back to society, a better citizen, a different citizen, or to return you back into society. Actually, it should be better than when you went in, but it's the opposite. We return back to society, most cases worse than when we went in. So in that sense, I want to say, and unless Celia comment on that, offer her opinion. So anyway, you come. It's this. Until we hold elected officials accountable, until we hold those that are in a position of authority accountable as to how they treat and care for our family members, nothing will be done in those prisons to make the stay or the conditions better for our families. Because if the family don't care, why would a person see black bodies, Latino bodies has become big business. The death of black men, the death of Latinos and poor people have become big business. Incarcerating and confining the bodies of poor people has become stock material, stock options.
It's we traded on the Dow Jones, right?
So how do we expect people to treat us who, like when my grandfathers and them came from down south, they had the steel mills, General Motors, and manufacturing tool and die casting. They had foundations of work to keep them, my grandfather and them, active in the household. You know what the rural white men income is? Working in the prisons. Why would I care about the condition of you when I need you to keep coming back in here? I don't need to change your mind, your condition, your state, because I need this body. It keeps me employed, Sister Lakeisha. And that's the real deal. Until the people, the citizens, start to see the value in human beings. Listen, this is what I'm going to tell you people out there. When dogs and fur have more lobby and money behind it than those who are confined in American prisons, you know that's an issue.
It's an issue, and we're going to talk about more that on the other side of the break. Brother Tyrone, when you come back, I also want to start talking about who are those elected officials, what those, not necessarily the names of them, but what positions, what actual leadership do we look at when we say that? The sheriff,
that's right,
the state's attorney, that's right, attorney general, that's all right, those things, who we got to look at to hold up and bring these things forward to. We'll talk about that on the other side. Hopefully this will be a quick one, because we definitely need to talk about that. Like,
man, that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Elected officials.
And the problem is, though, we don't even know.
Hold them accountable.
But we don't even know who it is, right? We don't know our judges. We don't know who.
Exactly.
When I hear a story on the news and it's a judge, like a judge somebody spit on a black judge. Remember that?
Yeah.
And then another judge excused it and was like, "It's cool, it wasn't a hate crime," and he didn't sentence. Well, I heard that. He was white. The judge was a black woman. The judge is white. I looked up his name. I want to know who you are, because when it comes time for you to be reelected,
you got to remind you.
So I wrote down the names. The Laquan McDonald.
Yeah.
Who was that judge? What? I need to know. Did he do? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not Laquan. Dante Servin, who murdered Wakia.
That's right.
Who was that judge?
That's right.
Because 2019, out of here. Like,
exactly.
We gotta be proactive in how we, stand for. Who is in charge of the county? That's Tom Dark. Who else? What other office? You know what I mean? What's underneath that? The warden. Who's the warden at the prison that Joe loved one is at?
That's
we
right.
gotta talk about all that. I don't think that people wait for people like you to tell them. That's our problem. We waiting on somebody else.
But
this is information that we can easily.
The internet is there.
Yeah.
You can actually view their voting record.
Yes. Yes. We don't got a lot of time. We don't got a lot of time, so we gonna keep this going. We not gonna even, y'all know I love me some Kanye because I can listen to that all night. But we got to get back into this conversation because on the break we were just talking about how our people need to be. My girl, y'all, my favorite shero, my favorite ancestor, Ida B. Wells, said that the press is the greatest educator there is. The people must know before they can act, and there's no educator that can compare to the press. The people must know before they can act. So we can't change anything if we don't have information, if we don't understand. And so, Brother Tyrone, we were just talking about who is it that we hold accountable, and not in a way that we're being agitating or not in a way that it's just a matter of fact. What is the processes that's going on? What are the things we like about the system? What are the things we need to change? And here are our asks to you or our demands to you. So first, let's start locally. That would be what?
Listen. All politics is local, and most of the people that come from prison comes back to the community where their crimes ultimately was committed. So the aldermen are first and foremost.
Whoa. And because they also pay the budget for how the police are.
That's right. Listen, if an alderman is in the community and he don't have a reentry program in your community, he's playing games. He need to be out of there, and that's my goal next year. This summer, I've already started today with Jason Irvin sitting in front of his house. I mean his office today. And yeah, we'll be sitting in front of your house and letting the people know on live with bullhorns while you sleeping, while they dodging bullets. They're dodging bullets, and women can't walk down the streets and take their children to school safely, and you in your house resting in that peace. We'll be in front of your house disturbing your peace if you don't do what you should do for the citizen. In that case, aldermen are first and foremost, and this is why I say that. You have one mayor. It's easy to blame Rahm Emanuel. Rahm Emanuel can't pass nothing without city council. City council is partly responsible for the liquor stores in our communities. These aldermen are responsible for that. And these liquor stores, these schools, all of the funding that we need, they receive it, they control it.
They make a decision what comes in,
what goes out. Am I going to put it on the streets? Am I going to pave the roads? Am I going to add a park? Am I going to put it in my pocket? Or am I going to stop recidivism? See, the prison, listen, crime. They are economics. They are building a $100 million police training academy out west. What do you think those police officers that's being trained are going to be deployed at?
And and the communities where they're going to be deployed, 54 schools have closed.
54 schools. You got $90 million for a police academy, but you don't have $90 million to keep schools open.
Right. So we got to look at aldermen. What's the next level?
The next one is state reps and congressmen.
Why?
Because, for instance, they passed legislation that reduce crime. Sentences. And that's that whole legislative process that's created. For instance, let me tell y'all people like this. When I was younger, my cousins and friends and neighbors was receiving 10 years for murder. The next generation, when I was growing up, were receiving 20. Then my generation received 40. And then my son, Lamont Washington, my buddy, said he went to school with you. He my man. He told me to let you know you his girl. Hey, Lamont, she remember you. Bogus. I'm CVS. Bogus Simeon.
Simeon Wolverine.
We are y'all. All right. Ben Wilson. Ben Wilson. Yeah. So we received, brothers like Lamont and I received 20 years. We had to do 40, so 50% of that. Now, my little brother and them people, my little brother received 85 years for the same crime. The murder didn't change. The time changed, and legislators do that. They fight this tough on crime act and laws. That's what that is.
That whole Hillary Clinton thing too, right?
Bill Clinton, that whole everything, that crime act. Under the Democratic Party and Mike Madigan people, The prisons are increased. So get that Democrat, Republican stuff out here and start dealing with people based on your interests and your issues of your community. Y'all stop that. And it was just last week. We was talking about how we deal with that and who are we to talk to. The legislators, congressmen, state senators. Your state senator, he has power. They write bills to receive funds into the various communities. And then we need to know what funds are being allocated for violence reduction, what funds are being allocated for prison reform, what form are being allocated for reentry. How is it, Sister Lakeisha? You have all the money in the world to keep my body confined for 2 decades, but have no money to help me receive housing or training to get back into, amalgamate back into the society that you removed me from. Where did the money go all of a sudden?
And those families who now, when we talk about, either way it goes, you're talking about a mother, you're talking about a father taken out of a home, that is income. That is somebody that's able-bodied, that's able to provide. So now you done took that away. Where's the money that goes for their children to be educated and housed?
That's right. But what you also do, is this. You remove respectable men from the community. Whatever crime they committed, for one, the society outside of the community don't care about that community. But they will put all this time on our sons, nephews, cousins, brothers, sisters, as though they really care about our social economical conditioning. They only really care about removing our bodies, man, to use our bodies as a tool to continue to profit off of our demise. I told an officer one day, who was judging our condition, like, y'all keep coming back to prison. I said, first of all, you are,
we don't.
You hear me? You lose your job. But I told him, you benefit off the blood-soaked soil of our community, and then you condemn the very thing that you benefit from. You a hypocrite. How you gonna think that? How do that work? Well, you can talk about everyone and disrespect and mistreat. If you was bringing
your only talent is to be overseer of that. That's your only contribution. So it's the holidays. Yeah. We want to make sure that families walk away from this with feeling empowered, with feeling a sense of hope. As you said, that while behind bars, people are creating their own traditions, building their own family. Nobody's really alone within the walls. You all have a brotherhood.
Yeah, what I love about that, what we have is this. We're not caught up in the economics of holidays. We're not falling into
Do you even know that it's a holiday when you?
Yeah, you know it because every TV show, every commercial, even the officers, they taking off, not showing up, the same old activity. But yes, you know, they decide on Christmas or Thanksgiving to cook us something they think is special, which is really nothing. But at the end of the day, we are not so deprived as we are conscientious.
Wow.
Because now most brothers in prison have a cachet of literature and information. When you sit still and you value your mind and your time, you start to learn about all these holidays, the Advent, where did they come from, why is Christmas, what is Thanksgiving, when did this happen, where people out in society don't even care. It's just traditional father. Yeah, as a tool to get away from from the madness of their life.
So doing that though, what can we do? We're on the outside. We miss our loved ones. Definitely, I know I miss my nephew Amari Ross. Yeah. Miss you dearly. What we can do is, like Brother Tyrone said, speak up their names, take the call.
That's right.
Let other people get on that. Everybody get on the line that night. Everybody that's in the house, pass the phone around.
That's right.
Write Right, take
Right.
the time to actually write letters. And I think this needs to be a conversation at the table. You know, everybody else want to talk about, you know, they making plans to talk about Trump. They making plans to talk about why molestation and all these other things. And that's great.
That's
talk
great.
about that too. But talk about things that you can actually change and things that impact us all. And incarceration is one of those things. There's a young lady, Mariam Kaba, with Prison Culture who does bond funds.
Yeah.
She raises bond because some people are in jail, in county jail, that just there because they simply can't afford $200, $500, and they there for a year or so, right? Mothers not able to come home just off a petty bond. But also people are away, and like you said, they don't have books, so they do book drives, donate books. Y'all can use tomorrow as a day to tell everybody, bring the old books you don't want to, all your books that you don't want, or extra books you have.
Them out.
Bring them to me because I will start this book collection. There's something we all can do. Brother Tyrone, you have home. What is home? And tell the people about that. We got 2 minutes left.
Okay. Yeah. Every Tuesday, 7 o'clock. My organization, ECCSC, we have a show called Home, Helping Our Mission Evolve. And our mission is to reduce recidivism, to close down the prison industrial complex, to be a re-entry model for the brothers coming home and to make them feel like they should come home. Just imagine if everybody in that family, you say what else they can do for a loved one? Imagine if everybody in my family or just the whole family put up $5 a week for me so that when I come home after 21 years, the start that I would have had to start a small business, to go back to school, to have a proper housing. So that's what home is, to try to prick the consciousness of what's going on in the streets with this violence prevention and mentorship. That's what it's about. Home is about bringing everybody into the house.
You got anybody you want to shout out who is serving, or anybody that you said your brother?
Yeah, Earl Faber. It's just Kevin Faber, my little brother. He just recently returned home and doing well out there. Just all the people who've given me an opportunity. You know, LaShawn Ford, state rep, he also running for mayor. He gave me a great opportunity and have helped me even with my health care. So these are the things that legislators have to do for formerly incarcerated.
My cousin, I'm shouting him out, Carlton Reed, he did about 11 years. He had hernias, everything, and couldn't get the proper medical attention until he got home.
Wow.
And I want to just give another shout out to his fiance Aida, just for holding him down, because family did not.
Yes.
So
that's
that's a support. Family, we just gotta be family. We gotta
hold them down, family.
Yes. So everybody, y'all, let's while we celebrate, let's remember those who are not with us, not because they have a choice in the matter, but because they just do not have the ability to. Take those phone calls, write those letters, get involved.
And send that commissary money in.
Yes, we make sure that. Send that commissary, and beyond today, beyond Christmas, stay engaged with local politicians. Question, understand where they stand on matters like this and what you can do to push whatever. Sometimes they don't even know what the agenda should be. Draw it up for them and present it to them as a proposal. Y'all catch me on Saturday, 10 o'clock a.m. Move Beyond the Block. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Happy holiday.
Happy holiday.
Peace.